Good morning, dear students and friends. Today, I have brought you an interesting topic regarding the Shakespeare and his works. Today, we will study the whole panorama of the Shakespeare about his works, life, and the importance during his age. Clear? So let's continue and started what actually he has done during his period. In 1574, the first ever commercial professional acting companies in London were given official recognition, and from then till 1642, when the Puritan Parliament imposed a total ban on playing, the English theatre enjoyed a period of vigor and energy. As it is given there, Shakespeare is known all over the world. Clear? Dominating the Elizabethan and Jacobean theatre like a collegial is Shakespeare. Between around 1590 and 1630. As it is given over here, he wrote mm, 37 plays. Clear? And a handful of three long narrative poems. And the finest and the most complete sonnet sequence of the English language, and almost 154 sonnet he has written. As it is given on the slide that he was born on April 23, 1564 in Stratford on Avon and was christened in Holy Trinity Church. As image depicts, you can see where how it looks Holy Trinity Church and William Shakespeare's birthplace. Clear? And Shakespeare life is, however, disappointingly documented. Paradoxically, this lack of documentation has added fuel to the fire of Shakespearean scholarship. He was born on April, as I have told you, 23rd, 1564, in Stratford on Avon, the son of John Shakespeare, a trader, and Mary Eden, the daughter of Warwickshire farmer who had distant aristocratic connections. And in November 1582, at the tender age of 18, Shakespeare married Anne Hathaway, and 6 months later, his first daughter, Susanna, was born. A curious theatre of Shakespearean commentary is that since the early 18th century, when Shakespeare was dismissed as a hack writer. Clear? So in 1583, their first child, Anne Hathaway, and his father, John Eden, clear, and Susanna was born, as I have told you already. Shakespeare's marriage must have been preceded by a binding betrothal ceremony. Anthony Burgess, Shakespeare's biographers, brought his subject firmly into the permissive age by arguing strenuously against the betrothal idea, to find the suggestion an affront to his hero's virility. In 1585, a twin son and daughter, Hamlet and Judith, were born. Until 1592, his life is obscure. Categorically state that he was an immediate success in London. His first attempts at comedy, tragedy, and history is the comedy of Eros, Titus Andronicus, and Henry VI. He wrote popular success, and his first narrative poem, Venus and Adonis, went into seven editions. Shakespeare probably entered Lord Stange's company as an actor in 1595. When they became the Chamberlain's men, the company was recognized on a shareholding basis, with Shakespeare one of the eighth shareholders. He was an excellent businessman, and he brought up property in and around Stratford. Shakespeare lived and worked in London for about 20 years, producing just under two plays a year. His last play was Henry VII, first played in June 1630. Shakespeare was an extremely practical man, anxious to make money from his plays. In one of his sonnets, Shakespeare speaks directly about his work and the effects he feels it has had and on his personality. That thence comes it that my name is receives a brand, and almost thence my nature is subdued to what it works like the dyer's hand. This is the sonnet of third written by Shakespeare. Clear. Shakespeare returned to Stratford in 1630. His retirement was brief. He died in April 1616 at the age of 52. Apart from a legend started by an unfriendly Stratford clergyman that shortly before his death he indulged in prolonged drinking bouts with Ben Jonson, from which he never recovered. Shakespeare is least introduced of writers. Critics claimed that to be irrefutable evidence he was Catholic, a Puritan, an atheist, an anti-Semitic, and a lover of Jews, homosexual, and abandoned uh, womanizer. Writers like Dr. Johnson and George Bernard Shaw have found Shakespeare lacking in fibre. He so irritatingly declares to play his card on table, yet his personal reticence was greatest strength. Keats, who was sympathetic to Shakespeare's method, called him the chameleon poet. Shakespeare was the most eccentric of writers. His characters speak with absolute authenticity and individuality. Shakespeare earned most praise in 17th and 18th centuries. He was an intrinsic writer. In terms of the skills, Shakespeare was spectacularly gifted in the handling of language and characters. There are discernible, clear, and shift in emphasis throughout his career. In the early 1590s, his characters tend with the exceptions of Richard III, a superb piece of the theatrical bravura. It was later 1590s that discovered his gift for the characterizations. Dear students and friends, this was what I have brought for you. Hope this will help you how this greatest dramatist had greatest importance all over the world. Clear? Characters like Hamlet and Cleopatra, the early 1600s, and the Caliban in the Tempest 1613 have a kind of resonance. The audience's grasp of his play's theme around 1600s, he confined himself exclusively to comedies and histories. The tragedies, Titus and Andronicus and Romeo and Juliet, and are only exceptions. Shakespeare's comedy is the assumption that if the villains are exposed and banished, and the lovers misunderstands unraveled in time, then the world can be made so to seem a benign place. In histories, he is cynical about people's motive, fundamental beliefs that right monarch, aware of his responsibilities, his path to the throne, untainted by the bloodshed, capable of the establishing peace and order. Only one indisputable comedy, Twelfth Night, was written after 1600. That and Henry VIII, his only other history was an encore by the special request. Historically speaking, there are discernible changes in the English theatre, generally reflecting the country's reaction to the Essex rebellions in 1601 and death of the Elizabeth and accession of James I in 1603. Between 1601 to 1608, as he wrote three plays, Major for Majors, as well All's Well That Ends Well, and Troilus and Cressida are technically comedies. So, dear students, that's all for today. Hope this will cater you and also enhance your knowledge about the English writer who has greatest importance all over the universe. Thanks for watching the video till and have a nice day, all of you.